Section 25 of Lectures to Young People. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Lectures to Young People by William B. Sprague. Growth in Grace, 2 Peter 3, verse 18, Part 1. 2 Peter 3, verse 18, Grow in Grace. It is an error common to young Christians that when the first joys of a renovated state have passed away, the current of their affections sets back strongly towards the world. Judging from their appearance, in many instances, we should say that they gave little promise of being faithful soldiers of the cross, that instead of guarding more closely against their spiritual enemies and girding themselves more thoroughly for conflict, they were casting from them the armor with which they were actually furnished, and dismissing the sentinels already stationed at the door of their hearts. They would seem to be acting upon the conviction that the course of exercises through which they had passed constituted certain evidence of regeneration, and that regeneration not only begins but completes their preparation for heaven. Our text is adapted, my young friends, to guard you against this mistaken view of the religious life. It clearly implies that regeneration is but the beginning of religion in the heart, and of course leaves the subject of it but partially sanctified. That the Christian life is a life of constant improvement, and that this improvement is intimately connected with our own exertions. It is the design of this discourse to illustrate the nature, the means, the importance of growth in grace. First, what is it to grow in grace? The word grace is used in the New Testament with various shades of meaning, but in the text it evidently denotes practical piety, or the religion of the heart and life. To grow in grace, therefore, is in general to make progress in religion. More particularly, 1. It is implied in this duty that you grow not merely in the means of religion, but in religion itself. The use of means always supposes that there is an end to be attained, and this holds true in respect to religion as well as anything else. But it would seem that this connection between the means and the end is, by many professed Christians, in a great measure overlooked, and that, for the actual attainment of grace, they substitute the means by which it is to be obtained. In the regularity of their attendance on religious services, they seem practically to forget the purpose for which these services were designed, so that instead of ministering to the growth of religion, they serve only to cherish a spirit of self-righteousness. Think not that I would discourage the most diligent use of means. I would only put you on your guard against defeating the purpose for which they are designed by an improper use of them. Let them be used, and used daily, but let it be with reference to the attainment of an end, the promotion of religion in the heart and life, and so long as this purpose is not answered, remember that they have not exerted their proper influence, when the effect of them is to increase your love to God and man, to quicken your faith, to deepen your humility, and to cause you to abound more and more in every Christian virtue, then and then only is their legitimate purpose accomplished. Growth in grace, then, you perceive, involves not only a diligent use of the means of grace, but also the attainment of the end for which these means were designed. While the end is not, at least in the ordinary course of providence, to be attained without the means are of no importance except from their connection with the end. He who grows in grace in the use of the one attains the other. 2. The duty which we are contemplating implies that you grow not in some particular parts of religion only, but in every part. The Christian character, though made up of a variety of graces and virtues, is a well-proportioned and beautiful whole, but as there is a strong disposition to separate the means and the end in the religious life, there is a similar propensity often manifested to deform the Christian character by neglecting to cultivate some of the traits of which it is composed. Hence we often see professed Christians who in some respects seem to be closely conformed to the gospel standard, who yet in others exhibit so little of the Spirit of Christ as to occasion distressing doubts whether they are really his disciples. Now, if you would comply with the duty enjoined in the text, you must guard against this evil. You need not indeed fear that you shall superabound in any of the virtues of the gospel, but take heed that there be none in which you are deficient. Let your standard of piety be as elevated as it may, but let your Christian character rise in just and beautiful proportions. 3. The duty enjoined in the text, moreover, implies that you should grow in religion, not at particular times only, but at all times. There is, I fear, an impression too common among young Christians that the religious character is to be formed chiefly from the influence of great occasions. When, for instance, they are visited by severe affliction, they feel that it is a time for diligently cultivating religion, but let the rod of God be withdrawn, and they too commonly relapse into a state of comparative indolence. Or let there be a revival of religion in their immediate neighborhood, and you will see them coming forth to the work in a spirit of humility and self-denial, but let carelessness resume its dominion over the surrounding multitude, and they too in many instances will be seen settled down to a point of freezing indifference. They doubt not that it is the duty of Christians to make progress in religion, but they seem to imagine that by extraordinary diligence at one time they may atone for some degree of negligence at another. Now, we do not deny that there are occasions in the Christian's life, and among them those to which we have referred, which are peculiarly favorable to his improvement, and for which he ought diligently to watch. But the notion against which we protest is that there is any period in which he may fold his hands in indolence. While you are to improve with special care those seasons which furnish peculiar advantages for the cultivation of piety, remember that religion is to be the work of every day, that in seasons of prosperity as well as of adversity, in seasons of coldness as well as of revival, in every condition in which you may be placed, you are bound to grow in grace. End of section 25.